Hi guys, it's Sophie. Today I'm going to be sharing my birth story with you guys of the day that baby Marty was born. He was born on February 6, 2026, so that was a while ago, and I just honestly didn't get to it until now, but I am filming my birth story today. I'm really excited. So let's get into it. It was definitely not what I planned to happen, but it ended up working out and I really enjoyed my birth. Like, I would definitely do it again. If you told me that I was going to have the same exact birth next time I have a baby, I'd be totally on board. I thought it was very manageable, very fast, and yeah, super positive. So I feel like I hear a lot of like negative induction stories and like inductions failing, which absolutely happens. And that is one of the reasons I was scared to have an induction, is because I feel like the odds of an induction failing, I think, is like 30% of the time. And so this is not a video endorsing induction. I'm still pretty opposed to being induced unless it's medically necessary. But yeah, that's my story, and I'll like go into a little bit of why I had to get induced. So let's get started. I went in for my 40-week appointment at 40 weeks, and this was the day that they decided to start giving me membrane sweeps. So they let me have one at 40 weeks. Actually, hold on. I think I had one at 39 weeks. So I had my first membrane sweep at 39 weeks, and it did absolutely nothing. Like, I didn't even contract like one contraction. Like, nothing happened. So I was 39 weeks, so I went home. I spent the rest of the week just doing a lot of uphill walking, and I did a lot of curb walking. That's pretty much what I did. At this point, I had stopped like working out, like heavy duty, like weighted workouts. I was pretty much just going on walks. But yeah, I did a lot of walking, like a ton of walking, a lot of uphill walking, like straight up, like super inclined. And I thought that that would put me into labor, but it did not. And the curb walking did absolutely nothing as well. So yeah, I had a membrane sweep at 39 weeks, did nothing. 40 weeks, I did another membrane sweep, and again, it did absolutely nothing. And at 40 weeks, I was actually 2 centimeters dilated, and I think I was like 70% effaced. Like, I was super effaced is what they told me. So yeah, at that point at 40 weeks when they told me that, I was like, awesome, like I'm gonna go into labor, like this is gonna be easy, like this week I'm gonna go into labor. So I went home fully expecting to go into labor. I kept doing my super inclined walking and my curb walking. Like, that's what I really enjoyed doing, and so that's kind of what I did. And I also tried the, I think it's called the Miles circuit, where you like get your baby into position by like its different movements, and it's called the Miles circuit, and it's supposed to help you kind of go into labor, but more so get your baby into the right position, which it did. Like, my baby was always in fantastic positioning during labor, so if anything, it did that, but it definitely did not put me into labor. I did not go into labor from that. So 41 weeks came, and I was still not in labor, like at all, like nothing, like no signs of labor, absolutely nothing. So I'm at 41 weeks at my 41-week appointment, and they do another membrane sweep, and they kind of tell me like, okay, we kind of have to make a plan, because like they don't let you go to 42 weeks. You can get induced the day before you turn 42 weeks, but if you go to 42 weeks, it's like a insurance liability situation for them. And so basically they told me, like, if you go to 42 weeks, you have to get transferred then to like a high-risk specialist, because I don't know. That's what they told me. So my options were pretty much to get induced before 42 weeks or to go have a free birth, which didn't sound too bad to me, but I was not like willing to do that really. For my first baby, I was too just anxious and unsure and just kind of scared. for that to be something that I really considered. And so I was like, okay, like I'm gonna try and go into labor. Hopefully this membrane sweep works, but otherwise I scheduled an induction at 41 weeks and 4 days, I believe. Yeah, 41 weeks and 4 days was my like date set for an induction. And I was really hoping, of course, to not have to make it to that date. And so they did a membrane sweep. I went on my merry way, and this time the membrane sweep actually did something, kind of. And we went to the store afterwards, and I started contracting like every 10 minutes, and they were pretty strong, but then they totally went away after an hour. So I had contractions for like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and then they went away totally. And I remember just being so excited that I was maybe going into labor by myself. So that was pretty disappointing and like disheartening. And so we drove home after that. And I did not go into labor, and nothing else happened. Like absolutely nothing. Like I did not have any labor signs. I was in zero pain, absolutely zero pain. I was feeling incredible. Unfortunately. And so yeah, I was disappointed, and the date just kept creeping forward until I made it to my induction date. And so they told us at 41 weeks and 4 days, come in at 5 p.m. so it's nighttime, and we're gonna start you with like a lower intervention induction method, and see if that will kick you into labor, or at least get you to like a 3 or 4 maybe before we introduce Pitocin. And so I was on board with that plan. I was like, as long as I don't do Pitocin or like don't do Pitocin for as long as possible, because that's like the drug that I was really afraid of. I think going into this birth, I was really hopeful to have a unmedicated birth. So no pain medication. I didn't want any medication. And so yeah, going into her induction was disappointing because I felt like, oh, like this is not an unmedicated birth anymore. Like I can maybe not get the epidural, and that's still like going pain med free, I guess, but I didn't want anything. Like I didn't want any medication because like I wanted an unmedicated birth. So I was pretty disappointed that like now that I'm going in for induction, I knew that now my birth is technically medicated. There's no form of induction that is unmedicated. You're getting medicated to go into labor. So yeah, I went in, they got me like hooked up, they checked my blood pressure. That was always great. So I was super good. They checked a few other things. They put my IV in, but it definitely took them quite a few tries to get my IV in, and they poked me multiple times. I had quite a bit of bruising on my arm afterwards because they couldn't get my IV in. And I hear people complain about this all the time on my mom Facebook groups of like the nurses that can't get the IV into your arm and how bad it hurts. I mean, compared to labor, it doesn't hurt that bad, but it definitely, like, it was sore, especially after I left the hospital. The spot on my arm where they had the IV in, just because it took so many tries for them to get it in. They said my veins were small or something like that. But they finally got it in, and I got all hooked up. Because I was over 41 weeks, I had to be monitored. Originally, my birth plan was to be like, what's it called? Intermittent monitoring is what it's called, where they check on your baby here and there, like their heart rate and everything and your contractions, but they leave you off the monitor so they don't have it on you at all times. But because I was 41 weeks, they told me I had to be monitored like continuously. So yeah, it was pretty uncomfortable to just be monitored all the time. There's nothing sweeter than a sleeping baby. Just so precious. An IV I got on the monitor, and I was just laying there in the hospital bed, and they were kind of going over options with me. They wanted me to do either Cytotec or Cervidil. I said no because there's just some kind of controversial side effects, I guess. It can make it so your baby like doesn't tolerate it basically, and it's hard to get it out of your system once you have it in. Is kind of what my understanding was. I did some research on Cytotec and Cervidil before I went into labor because I knew that's kind of what they would want. I think you should do your own research if you are planning on getting induced, but I certainly did not feel comfortable doing that, and so instead of Cervidil or Cytotec, which is what they wanted, I opted to get the drug-free option. It's called a Foley balloon, also known as like a Cook's catheter, and basically it's two like balloons. It's like a catheter that goes up your cervix, and there's a balloon on one side of your cervix, and then they blow up. It's on one side and then the other side, and the two balloons press on your cervix like this, and they thin out your cervix manually. So there's no drugs involved, which is why I opted for it. I was like, this is awesome. Like, no drugs, which means that they can take it out at any time if baby does not like it, and there's nothing in my system for baby to react to. It is fully just manual. You just put it in and you take it out, and it sounded fantastic. And yeah, getting it in was definitely painful. I think I was mentally prepared for the pain, and so I did pretty well on it, but it's definitely a different kind of pain. Like, obviously labor's a little worse maybe, but I would honestly compare it to like being in labor, like full-on labor. Like, I would definitely compare it to that. So yeah, just going in mentally prepared that it is a very short process, that it does not take very long, that it is super quick, and that it's very effective. And yeah, other than the pain of getting it in, once it's in, you are out, like, not in misery anymore whatsoever, and you start contracting, in my experience, about 30 minutes after it got put in. I started having contractions, and they were pretty consistent, like effective contractions that happened every 10 minutes lasting for about like maybe 3 minutes. So they were good, effective. Like, I felt like they were like strong, effective contractions, and they like I knew they were doing something, if that makes sense. So I was very happy. So I got there at 5 p.m. They started the first thing, the Foley balloon, at 7 p.m. and I was definitely contracting like consistently after about 30 minutes, all through the night until about 2 a.m. And I started kind of doubting myself because it's supposed to fall out if it's super effective. And so because this Foley balloon thing was not falling out by itself, I was really just concerned that maybe it wasn't actually like doing anything. And so I was like, I remember being really sad just sitting there. I had no contractions. After 2 a.m. it had completely stopped. I was pretty disappointed, and yeah, that was hard. Like, the middle of the night, not having contractions, I was like laying there with this Foley balloon inside of me. That was just like honestly the worst part, because I felt like it wasn't like effective, that I was just like tricking my mind into thinking that it was being effective. Yeah, that was rough. They came in around 6 a.m. and took it out, and they were like, wow, like, I'm surprised it didn't come out on its own, because you were dilated to a 4 now. Like, you were a 4. Like, this is incredible. Like, it did its job for sure. And I was like, what? Like, I'm a 4? Like, you're kidding. Because I didn't have any contractions. Like, 0 contractions for the past, like, how many hours at that point? Like, 4 or 5 hours at that point. I had no contractions at all. So I was shocked that it had actually done that much, like, dilation, I guess is the right word. I was so stoked. Hey, my little guy has awoken. So I'm gonna take him out. He's so precious. Are you gonna see her with Mama? The little man has awoken. He might be happy just sitting here for a little bit. Are you happy? where was I? So they took my Foley balloon out and I was a 4 and I was so excited. I was like, yes, like I am dilated, like, and I'm not even contracting right now. So we gotta like get this show on the road basically. So I was, at that point, I was like pretty okay with them doing Pitocin. I knew that's what was coming. I knew that there was like nothing else really to do because I was a 4, right? And not contracting at a 4 is like prime time for Pitocin. So they started me on a 1, a level 1 Pitocin. And this is my greatest advice to anyone who is even thinking about getting an induction and using Pitocin is the doctors often want to like hike your Pitocin up as high as and as fast as possible. They're like on a time crunch for some reason. But I was so grateful that my midwife that I was with at the hospital was super on board with keeping my Pitocin low and making go up by 1 every 30 minutes. And that way my body had a time to get used to it and it had time to kind of kick into gear by itself, hopefully, and not need to get like to a level 10 Pitocin, because that is often unnecessary. And I think that that is what makes having a labor with Pitocin so unbearable and so difficult and so like hard to do unmedicated, because it's just really rough. Like when you're at a 10 Pitocin, like your contractions are going back to back to back to back. So yeah, I was super grateful to them for just cooperating with my wishes and keeping it pretty low on the dosage of Pitocin. So I started at a 1, nothing really happened. Like 30 minutes later, they put me to a 2, and that's kind of when I started having kind of contractions, but like really mild. And then 3, still really mild. 4, still really mild. I think 4 is when I was like, okay, like I'm feeling it a little bit. Like I started having to kind of sway a little bit, nothing crazy, felt very manageable. And then a 5 is where I kind of was like, all right, like I can feel this. This is definitely a contraction. Like before I was like, like it's okay, like it's nothing crazy. At 5, level 5 Pitocin was when they were like, okay, like you seem to be contracting effectively. Like they could tell like this was an effective contraction. It was doing something to my body and it was working really well. So they were like, okay, we're gonna cap it at 5 for now. If we need to make it go higher later, that sounds good. But at 5, I was like, I'm feeling this feels like it's doing something, so why would I change the dosage if this dosage is working, you know? So I was contracting pretty intense. I was like on my hands and knees. I remember just like swaying through the contractions, and then I would kind of rest between contractions. They were really consistent. I would say they were like every 3 minutes, lasting for like, dang, like a minute maybe. Like they were really effective contractions. Not insanely painful yet, but definitely something I had to like stop and sway and focus through. Something I used during this time, and then I continued using throughout the rest of my labor, was my labor comb and my labor, like it was like the spiky ball. So I'd have my labor comb in one hand and then my labor like spiky massage ball in the other hand, and that helped really counter the contraction. Did it make the pain go away? Absolutely not. Like it was still definitely painful, but like it made it, again, manageable, and helped me relax through the contractions, which made my contractions super effective, because when you're tense, your contractions can't really like work super well, and so the more relaxed you are, the more effective your contractions are, and so I really focused on that. Alright, little man, we're gonna go down here. So yeah, I was having really consistent and effective contractions at a level 5 Pitocin for, say, like an hour. I was like in labor for like a good hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at this point. And they decided like, okay, you look like you're in enough pain now. Like I was definitely still like swaying, doing my thing, like it felt manageable, but I was definitely feeling like, ouch, like this hurts, like I'm having to really focus on my breathing and my swaying and everything to get through these contractions. Like I'm not able to just like sit there like, oh, like it's okay. No, I was like on hands and knees actually getting through contractions at this point. They were like, okay, we can check you when you're done having this next contraction. So I get on my back, which when you're in labor and it's unmedicated, getting on your back is like the last thing you want to do. You do not want to be on your back. It is like excruciating. And so I remember just being like so mortified at the fact that they were like, get on your back, we're gonna check you. I was like, really? Like, do I really have to do that? But I did it. It was fine. I did it between contractions. I was able to do it, and it actually ended up being fine. Like I remember thinking like, this is gonna kill me, but it didn't. It was fine. It wasn't even like the worst thing ever, which in the moment I thought it was going to be. So they check me and they tell me I'm a 6. And I remember feeling disappointed. Like I remember feeling disappointed that I was a 6, and now looking back I'm like, girl, that was good. Like a 6 is good. Like you were only in labor for like not very long at all. So the fact that you're a 6 from a 4 in 2 hours, that's fantastic. Like that's great. But yeah, I remember in the moment them telling me I'm a 6 and me feeling like disappointment actually. Like I thought I should be like a 7 or an 8 for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, so I was like, well, this hurts, so I want the pool. That was my plan all along. I wanted a water birth. They were a hospital that did water births in the tub. Like you didn't have to get out to deliver your baby. You could stay in the tub, and they were trained to deliver your baby in the water. And so I was excited to use the tub, and I was like, okay, can I get in the tub? And they were kind of like, like, we don't want you to get in the tub yet because it's gonna slow down your labor. And I was like, well, I want the tub. Like that was my plan all along. Like I was definitely getting a little worked up, and I was telling Aaron like, hey, I need the tub. And so he was like, he made sure that they got me the tub. And I had my doula there as well, and she was really helpful in advocating for me, and she was like, get the tub for her, she wants the tub. That was the whole point. That's why I had driven to this hospital, is because I wanted the tub. So I got the tub. I got in the tub, and it was actually like, the idea of getting into the tub was like a little daunting. Like in my mind, hi Bubba. In my mind it was kind of daunting to like walk. I had to walk through the hallway into another room to get into the room with the tub. Hi Bubba. So it was kind of like a daunting situation. Like I did have to get up while being in really active labor, in pain, walk over to the tub. And so that was quite the journey. I remember that was, it was definitely doable, but it was like challenging. More mentally than anything. In labor, you're just like, I'm in pain. This is the last thing that I want to do, is walk around. Like I want to keep doing what has been working. But I did it, and I got in the tub, and it was like instant relief. Like I'm telling you, like, it was amazing. Yeah, the water just helped so immensely for me. And I know that's not the case for everyone. Everyone's like labor story is different. Some people say that their labor actually hurt worse in the tub, and some people say it didn't offer any relief whatsoever. For me, the water definitely did it for me. Like I was happy in the water. I was thriving, and I was like, they were having me do lunges in the water to keep my labor progressing, and I was doing that, and I was doing great. Like I got in a really good groove. I felt like once I got in the tub, I just knew what to do. I felt like in the groove. I felt amazing. Yeah, like at no point in the tub did I feel like, ow, like I can't do this. Like at no point did I ever like even like consider the epidural, honestly, even though I totally could have gotten it. I was in a hospital, right? At no point did I even consider anything other than what I was doing. It had been 2 hours at this point, and they checked me, and I was an 8. And so they were like, okay, you're an 8, like your water still hasn't broken. We're gonna go ahead and break your water. Like I also forgot to mention that I threw up, which is very common when you're in labor. Right before I got into the tub, I was still laboring in my room, I threw up. It was pretty casual actually. I literally just told my doula like, hey, I'm about to throw up. She grabbed like a trash can and I threw up into the trash can. I remember throwing up a little bit outside of the trash can. It was kind of like, I felt a little embarrassed because they had to like clean it up, but really it wasn't a big deal. Like I remember feeling good to throw up. Like I remember feeling great to throw up, which for me, like I definitely have an aversion to throwing up. I don't enjoy throwing up, but in that moment it felt really good to throw up. And so I was like 6 centimeters at that point, I think, or like 5. Something like that. This was right before they checked me and I went into the tub. So I threw up, I'm in the tub, and yeah, I remember having a great time in the tub. Like I was just doing lunges and progressing really well. At 8 centimeters, they took the crochet hook, they broke my water, and at that point I was progressing really quickly. I think within an hour, I started pushing, and this is the part that like, I don't know, I felt like maybe I wasn't like doing the right thing or something, but I didn't really know how to push. I was expecting to feel the fetal ejection reflex. Almost every mom that I talked to had this thing happen to them called the fetal ejection reflex, which is basically where your baby like kind of pushes their way out themselves. Like you don't have to push, or you have to like do very mild pushing. And so I was kind of sitting there, I felt the pressure, but I was like almost expecting him to like kind of fall out, I guess. And so when they told me to push, I was like, okay, like I'll push. Like I did some like pretty weak pushes. They told me like, you have to actually push, and I started actually pushing, and I didn't feel the ring of fire. It didn't really hurt that bad. It felt like a lot of pressure, but I wouldn't say it was like painful necessarily, like pain as you would describe it. Like it felt a lot of pressure, but yeah, it wasn't like excruciatingly painful or anything. I just I wasn't expecting to need to push that hard. Like I was actually like pushing like with all my might. Pretty intense stuff. Like I was freaking pushing this baby out, and I was like, wow, like this is a lot of effort. Is this baby coming out? And I actually only pushed for 20 minutes, but I remember it dragging out. Like 20 minutes pushing is not long at all. Like people push for 3 hours, but I remember being like, dang, little Bubba is just being crazy. So yeah, I'm just in the tub pushing and pushing and pushing, and it feels like forever, but again, I think I was only pushing in the tub for about 10 minutes. And I was pushing in like a lunge position. So every contraction you push, and I was pushing in a lunge position, and then to rest, during my rest time, I was just kind of like swaying back and forth in a sitting position, and then I would lunge on the opposite direction that I had just lunged. Hey Bubba, you cannot do that. You're gonna hurt Mama's bracelet. You're gonna break it. Every time I felt a contraction come on, like I knew what I needed to do, I got up and really quickly got in a lunge. Like literally that motion is really intense, and so the monitors that are on my belly just kind of move a lot, like when I'm like really briskly moving into like a lunge position. That's like the best way I can explain it. Like the monitors just moved a lot because I was moving a lot. Again, I don't have an epidural. I'm trying to like get through these contractions. They're painful. Like I'm in pain. Like never did I feel like excruciating, like earth-shattering pain, but I was still in pain. Like I was going through contractions. And they were really intense. Like I'm about to give birth. So I'm doing these lunges and they are helping me get through my labor. But my monitors are moving because I'm moving. But yeah, my monitors are moving because I'm moving a ton, and they're like, oh, his heart rate is dipping. And Aaron's kind of like, really, like, is his heart rate really dipping, or is the monitor that's tracking his heart rate just moving around and it can't like detect his heart rate at all times, so this heart rate monitor is moving like crazy. To this day, we don't know. Like, obviously Aaron's like convinced that it was just like the monitor moving and not his heart rate. But the doctors were concerned the heart rate was dipping or whatever. So they made me get out of the tub. His head... Are you being cray-cray? Are you being cray-cray? His head was like half out. And they made me get out of the tub. They made me stand up. Stand up and get out of the tub. I remember... like the urgency in her tone, almost like you have to get up and get out of the tub. And when you hear that urgency from your provider, you're like, I'm not gonna fight with you. Like, you must mean business when you say it like that. And so I really didn't have a choice. I had to get out of the tub. Even though I was having the time of my life in there, like I felt so good. I was on my hands and knees on the bed in there. And that's where I pushed him out. They told me to push with all your might. You gotta get him out. Because apparently his heart rate was dipping. Again, that's up in the air. I'm not trying to fight with my provider though, so I'm gonna do what my provider says I should do. So I push him out, and the pushing again, I had to push with all my might. Like, I was pushing him out. There was no fetal ejection reflex in sight. Like, I was doing the pushing. Like, I was doing all the work. He was not helping me out. Like, he was in there. Like, I was pushing. But, again, I pushed for, again, a total of 20 minutes, they said. So, really pretty good. It just felt like, to me, it felt like forever because I was, like, doing a lot of the work. All of the work. He's being crazy, guys. He's like rummaging through my bags. He's rummaging and finding toys in the bags. So he was born at 4:30 p.m. Little man, it's okay. Why are you so sad? Why are you so sad? But yeah, I was in labor for 6 hours with the Pitocin. And it was great. Yeah. It was not anything crazy. I felt it was very manageable, and the tub really helped me. I thought the tub was just so comfy, and I really enjoyed the water. He was born at 4:30 p.m. on February 6, 2026, and he was really little. He was 6 pounds, 15 ounces, and 19 inches? I think it was 19 inches long. Which is really small for a almost 42-week baby. He was in the 5th percentile for gestational age, which is very small. He's a small little guy. So if he was born at 40 weeks, he would have been tiny. So I guess he just wanted to bake a little longer. And he's got the cutest blue eyes. This is my little munchkin. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you later. Little man, yay!